Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and today we're going to talk about diagnosing and fixing problems on your lawnmower. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. Today I thought we'd talk about chainsaw Alright, so when it comes to diagnosing an engine and a lawnmower and the issues that it may be having, there's certain steps that you should do and certain tools that you should have. Your first step, this is a V-twin. Your first step should always be to do compression on both sides. You know, do one side, crank it over, and then do the other side. We want a minimum of 90 PSI for that engine. If we're getting that, then we can go on to the next step. And that's simply, are we getting fire from the coils to the spark plugs? And just putting in a simple spark plug tester will tell you whether you're getting the spark or not. And a lot of times when you pull the plug out, it gives you time to inspect it. Is it all charcoal, or is it nice and clean? Is it wet where it's flooding itself? It could tell you a lot just by looking at your plugs. The biggest culprit on these, when I hear about a no start, is that there's a fuse located right here. It's a 20 amp fuse. And that fuse, if it goes, you will not get this to start. It'll crank, but you won't get it to start. So that's the first place you want to check. And I'll show you a close-up, is your fuse. The other thing that are culprits are your safety switches. All right. These can run you ragged trying to find out where the issue is. So a lot of times there's two schools of thought. Multimeter. Set it to the ohms, which is a horseshoe. And then you want to test both sides. You want to test to see what you're getting when the switch is out, and then what is given when the switch is pushed in. That'll tell you on your ohm meter of whether it's any good or not. A lot of times just simply looking at them, of where they're stuck in and they won't come back out, or they're broke. I've seen them. But you have numerous switches throughout your system. The biggest one is your C switch. And then you have your PTO switch, so that if the PTO got left engaged, it won't allow you to start. You have a pedal safety switch, so that if the pedal isn't depressed, unless you have the brake lock on, it won't start. And it's all ways to keep it. There's a reason for them there. And I encourage you to leave them that way. And if you get a bad switch, just replace it. One of the other ways that you can do when it comes to a safety switch is find out, is it my safety switches that are causing issues? Or is it something else here? Simply by pulling the cover off from this motor, you will expose the coil. And on the coil, there's a ground wire that comes to it. And that ground wire is to shut the system down. Don't allow it to fire, based on safety switches and your key switch included. So if you unhook those wires, the ground wire off from those coils, this is a twin. If it's a single, it'd be just the one. And it fires up. Now you know everything is good here. You just now have to follow back through and start ohm testing every safety switch that you have on the system. It can be time consuming to say the least. The other thing that comes in handy when you're testing systems, test light. You know, you can put that onto the hot and then just start checking your electronics to see, is this getting fire, is this getting power, is this not getting power, and so forth, of it lighting up. So first thing is compression, next thing is fire, and then if it's still not, and you have those there, then you need to start looking. A lot of times you won't get a fire if your safety switches are giving you issues. It won't allow it to fire. Or if that fuse is blown, it's in here. Most lawnmowers have that now. So let me give you a close-up on that fuse so that you know in the future. Let me take you right around. Right here. Just pull that fuse out, see if it's any good. Sometimes they look good and they're not, but most times they'll have a burnt mark. That's usually your culprit. So hopefully that's kind of helped you, give you an idea of where to look when it comes to diagnosing an engine. Most often on a no start, it's a safety switch giving you problems somewhere in the system, and you as the investigator have to figure out where. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next video.